The bailiff's voice cut through the chatter of the small claims courtroom. Order in the court. Case of Martina Lopez versus Daniel Reed. Judge Judy didn't look up immediately. She was reading the case file, pen tapping lightly, and then her eyes lifted, sharp as a blade. All right, let's get this circus started. Martina, a 28-year-old waitress with tired eyes and trembling fingers, stepped forward first. Daniel followed, tall, smug, a little too confident for someone being sued. Judge Judy's gaze flicked between them. Miss Lopez, you're suing the defendant for $4,350, damages to your car, loss of wages, and emotional distress due to what you're calling reckless and manipulative behavior. Correct? Yes, Your Honor, Martina said, voice tight. Judy turned to Daniel. And you say none of this is your fault. In fact, you claim she caused the entire incident? Daniel smirked. Yes, Your Honor, she's exaggerating everything. Judy raised a brow. All right, let's see if you still think that after today. Miss Lopez, start from the beginning. And I don't want a novel, just facts. Martina took a deep breath. Your Honor, Daniel and I have been friends. Or I thought we were. We worked at the same cafe for almost 2 years. He always asked me for rides, and I didn't mind. But 3 months ago, he told me he needed a ride to pick up something from a friend's house late at night. I didn't feel comfortable, but he kept insisting, saying it was urgent. Daniel rolled his eyes loudly. Judge Judy's head snapped in his direction. Did you just roll your eyes in my courtroom? Daniel froze. I didn't mean. Try it again, and you'll be rolling them in county jail. Continue, Miss Lopez. Martina nodded. So we were driving, and he told me to take a road outside the city. I asked why we were going so far, and he just said, don't worry. But when we reached this old warehouse area, 2 guys were waiting there. They walked up to my car and started yelling at Daniel. Judy's eyes narrowed. Yelling about what? Martina swallowed. Money, Your Honor. They said he owed them money. Daniel interjected. They were joking. Just friends messing around. Judge Judy slammed her hand on her bench. Do not interrupt her again. You will speak when I look at you. Understood? Daniel shrank slightly. Yes, Your Honor. Martina continued, voice shaking. One of them banged on my window so hard it cracked. I panicked and tried to drive away, but Daniel grabbed the steering wheel. He said I shouldn't leave yet. Judge Judy leaned forward. He what? He grabbed the wheel, Martina repeated, eyes filling. And when I pushed him away, the car swerved and hit a metal barrier. The front bumper broke, headlight shattered. I was crying, shaking, but Daniel said it was no big deal and that I should relax. Judy turned slowly to Daniel, expression deadly calm. You grabbed the steering wheel of a moving vehicle? I mean, not exactly. Yes or no? Daniel hesitated. Yes. The courtroom let out a small gasp. Judy lifted a hand, silencing them. Martina continued. After the crash, those guys left. Daniel got out of the car and acted like nothing happened. He didn't help with the damage, didn't apologize. The next day, he told people at work that I overreacted and that my driving caused it. Do you have evidence of the car damage? Judy asked. Yes, Your Honor. She handed over photos, cracked window, bent bumper, shattered light, scratches across the hood. Judy examined each carefully. And you paid for all of this? Martina nodded. $3,000 in repairs. I missed 4 days of work because I was terrified to drive. And Daniel kept mocking me in front of our coworkers. He said I was dramatic and that girls like me always ruin things. Judge Judy lifted her chin, eyes sharp. Girls like you? Martina nodded, voice breaking. He meant girls who aren't confident. Girls who don't fight back. Daniel scoffed again. I was joking. She's way too sensitive. Judy stared at him long enough to make even the audience hold their breath. No, what you are is irresponsible, selfish, and apparently dangerous. But we'll get to you in a moment. She turned back to Martina. Why didn't you call the police that night? I was scared and embarrassed. I felt stupid for trusting him. Judy tapped her pen. Fear is a real thing. But stupidity? No. Trusting a coworker shouldn't be a dangerous decision. She looked at Daniel. Your turn. And choose your words very carefully. Daniel straightened. Your Honor, this is exaggerated. Those guys aren't dangerous. They're just friends. And I didn't force her to drive anywhere, she agreed. The car didn't hit anything that hard. The damage looks worse in pictures. She's trying to blame me because she wants money. That's all. Judge Judy blinked once, slowly. So, your defense is that she is lying? Daniel nodded confidently. Yes, Your Honor. Judy's lips twitched, not in amusement, but in the kind of suppressed annoyance that meant trouble. We'll see about that. She turned to the bailiff. Bring me the workplace witness statements. The bailiff handed over the stack. Judge Judy scanned them, expression tightening. Then she looked up at Daniel. These statements say you bragged at work that you held the wheel because she was being dramatic, and that you scared her for fun. Is that true? Daniel's throat tightened. They're exaggerating. Stop, right there. Let me explain something to you. People who lie in my courtroom tend to leave much poorer than they entered. Daniel gulped. Judy leaned back. We'll move to witness testimony next. And I'm warning you, if your story doesn't match theirs, things are going to get very unpleasant for you. She banged her gavel once. We take a short recess. Asterisk, the courtroom doors opened again as the bailiff announced, all rise. Everyone stood while Judge Judy marched back to the bench with the same sharp energy as before. She didn't waste a second. Sit down. Let's get this over with. Daniel looked tense now, fingers tapping nervously against his pant leg. Martina kept her eyes down, clutching the edge of her sleeve. Judge Judy flipped through the file, then looked up. We're continuing. Bring in the first witness. A young woman entered, short, nervous, wearing a cafe apron as if she had come straight from work. She looked at Martina with sympathy and at Daniel with visible discomfort. The bailiff swore her in. What's your name? Judy asked. Sarah Mitchell, Your Honor. You work with the plaintiff and the defendant? Yes, good. Tell me what you know. And remember, lying under oath is not only stupid, it's expensive. Sarah nodded quickly. Your Honor, I was there the day after the incident. Martina came in late and she looked shaken. She wasn't talking to anyone. Daniel, on the other hand, he was telling everyone he taught her a lesson. Judge Judy's eyebrows shot up. He said that? Yes, Sarah said. And he said she shouldn't freak out over a little fun. He told us he grabbed the steering wheel so she would calm down. Judge Judy's jaw tightened. She turned slowly toward Daniel. You said that? Daniel's voice was barely above a whisper. They're taking it out of context. Asterisk, oh, don't worry, Judy said coldly. We'll get the whole context. Continue, Miss Mitchell. Sarah swallowed. He kept joking about it, but no one found it funny. A couple of customers even overheard and looked uncomfortable. And Martina, she barely spoke to anyone that whole week. Martina's eyes lowered, her fingers twisting. Judge Judy nodded. Thank you. You may step aside, but stay in the room. As Sarah walked to the benches, Judy tapped her pen sharply. Next witness. A young man entered, tall, confident, and clearly irritated. He was sworn in. What's your name? Judy asked. Brian Cole, Your Honor. Do you also work at the cafe? Yes, and I want to be clear, I'm not friends with either of them. I'm just telling you what I saw. Perfect, Judy said. Go on. Asterisk, Brian crossed his arms. Daniel told me straight up that he owed money to some guys and that he used Martina for a ride. He said she wouldn't say no. Martina winced. Daniel's eyes widened. He's lying. Judge Judy raised her hand. Stop talking. Let him finish. Brian continued. He said those guys were mad at him. And when he told me the car hit something, he laughed. Said the look on her face was priceless. A quiet murmur rippled through the courtroom. Judge Judy's expression hardened dangerously. Mr. Reed, do you care to explain why everyone is saying the same thing while you keep changing your story? Daniel's face flushed red. They hate me. They're making things up because I joke around. Judy leaned forward. No, they're describing your behavior. That's not the same thing. And I don't think you understand how serious it is to grab a steering wheel while someone is driving. Daniel muttered. She wasn't going fast, asterisk. She was going fast enough for the car to hit a barrier. Judy snapped. If someone had gotten hurt or killed, you'd be in a real courtroom right now, not small claims. Do you follow? Daniel swallowed. Yes, Your Honor. Judy exhaled, then looked at Martina. Miss Lopez, when the car hit the barrier, what happened immediately after? Be specific. Martina steadied her voice. I screamed. The impact shook everything. The window cracked further. I was shaking so hard I couldn't even get the keys out. Daniel stepped out and started arguing with the two guys again. He left me in the car. I kept telling him I wanted to go home, but he told me to relax and stop acting scared. Judge Judy stared at Daniel. Did you tell her to relax? Daniel hesitated, then nodded. Yes, I told her it wasn't a big deal. Asterisk Judy's voice turned icy. You caused a crash. You put her in danger. And you told her it wasn't a big deal. Daniel tried to speak, but Judy lifted her hand sharply. Not one more word unless I ask for it. The courtroom was silent. Judy looked at Martina again. After the incident, did the defendant ever offer to pay for repairs? No, Your Honor. He said it was my responsibility because I was driving. Did he apologize? Even once? Martina shook her head. No. Judy looked to Daniel. Did you apologize? I didn't think I needed to, he said weakly. Judy's face twisted with disbelief. You didn't think you needed to? You think grabbing a steering wheel while someone is driving is normal? Daniel's voice cracked. I didn't mean for anything bad to happen. Intent doesn't erase stupidity, Judy said sharply. If I accidentally set my house on fire, guess what? It still burns. The gallery chuckled softly. Judge Judy ignored them. Bailiff, bring me the repair receipts. The bailiff handed over a folder. Judy scanned it quickly, then nodded. $3,000 for car repairs. 4 days of missed work, validated by the employer's letter. She turned to Daniel. Do you dispute these numbers? Daniel shook his head. He looked smaller now. No, Your Honor. Good, she said. At least we agree on something. Judy leaned back. Now let's talk about emotional distress. I don't usually award it unless there's clear evidence of trauma. But, she pointed her pen toward Martina, you had a cracked window from someone banging on it. 2 angry men yelling, and a crash caused by Mr. Reed grabbing the steering wheel. You missed work because you were too afraid to drive. That's not being dramatic. That's being human. Martina's eyes glistened. Judge Judy looked at Daniel again. Do you understand that what you did wasn't a joke? That it wasn't funny? That it wasn't harmless? Daniel's shoulders slumped. Yes, Your Honor. Judy nodded slowly. Good, because for the first time since you walked in here, you sound like you mean it. She exhaled, tapping her pen twice. I'll make a ruling after one more question. The room went still. Judy leaned forward. Mr. Reed, why didn't you leave the car when she asked to leave the area? Why did you keep her there? Daniel's jaw tightened and his voice dropped. I didn't want to look scared in front of those guys. If I left too quickly, they'd think I was weak. Judy blinked. So you risked her safety? To protect your ego? Daniel's silence was answer enough. The courtroom buzzed with shock. Judge Judy's voice cut through it. I've heard enough. We'll move to closing arguments next. She banged her gavel. Eyes locked on Daniel with the intensity of a hammer about to strike. Asterisk. The courtroom filled again after the brief recess. Tension thicker than before. Daniel looked rattled now, his earlier confidence stripped away. Martina sat quietly, hands folded tightly in her lap, eyes fixed on the ground. The bailiff announced, All rise. Judge Judy returned, her expression sharp enough to cut glass. Sit, she said, barely waiting for everyone to lower themselves. We're moving into closing arguments, but before that, I have a few questions for the defendant. And you're going to answer them honestly this time? Daniel swallowed. Yes, Your Honor. Judy leaned forward. When you grabbed the steering wheel, what exactly did you expect would happen? Daniel hesitated. I thought she'd stop panicking by creating a bigger panic. Judy snapped. You know what happens when a moving car suddenly veers? People die. Do you get that? Is that registering in your brain? Daniel's face turned pale. I don't care what you meant, Judy interrupted, stabbing a finger in the air. I care what you did. The room went dead silent. Judy turned to Martina. Miss Lopez, I want you to tell me exactly how you felt after the crash. And take your time. Martina nodded shakily. I froze, Your Honor. My ears were ringing. I couldn't breathe. I thought the window was going to explode. And when he got out of the car, he didn't even look at me. He just kept arguing with those guys. Judy nodded slowly. And after that, I begged him to let me go home. But he rolled his eyes and told me I was embarrassing him. Daniel squeezed his eyes shut, guilt washing over his face. Judy turned his way. Did you say that? Daniel's voice was barely audible. Yes, Your Honor. Judy shook her head. I have dealt with thousands of irresponsible young men in my courtroom, but what you did was beyond reckless. It was selfish and dangerous, and it shows a complete lack of respect for someone who is trying to help you. Daniel swallowed again, eyes glistening with shame. Judy continued. Let's talk about these men you owed money to. Who are they? Why did you owe them anything? Daniel stiffened. Just some guys from a poker game. Judy's eyes widened. Poker? You were gambling? Yes, Your Honor. How much did you owe them? Daniel exhaled slowly. About $1,000. Judy blinked once, slowly. So you dragged a coworker late at night to a dangerous place with men you owed money to because you didn't want to face them alone? Daniel nodded silently. Judy slammed her palm on the bench. That is not only stupid, that is dangerous. And you put her in the middle of it. Martina flinched slightly at the sound of the impact. Judy leaned closer to Daniel, voice low and sharp. If those men had hurt her, do you know what you'd be facing right now? Not a lawsuit, prison, do you follow? Daniel whispered. Yes, Your Honor, louder. Yes, Your Honor, he said, voice cracking. Judy sat back. Good, at least I know you can speak when necessary. Asterisk, she turned her attention to Martina. Miss Lopez, did the defendant ever warn you where you were going? Or who you'd encounter? No, Your Honor, Martina whispered. He just kept saying it was quick and safe. Judy scoffed. Safe? With 2 grown men banging on your window and shouting about money? Martina shook her head. He never told me any of that. Judy tapped her pen. This is why people lose trust in others? Because of behavior like this? Daniel stared down at his shoes. Judge Judy flipped through the file again. Now, I want to discuss the workplace environment. Miss Lopez, you said the defendant mocked you after the crash. What exactly did he say? Martina exhaled, her voice trembling. He told people I cried too much, that I was dramatic. He laughed about the cracked window. And he told a few customers I wasn't tough enough to handle real life. Judy's face hardened. Did you say that? She asked Daniel. Daniel's cheeks burned. I was trying to make light of the situation. I didn't think she'd take it that seriously. Judy leaned forward, her eyes piercing. Mocking a traumatized person isn't making light. It's cruelty. The courtroom hummed with tension. Asterisk, Judy continued. I read statements from coworkers. They all say you bragged about grabbing the wheel. That you laughed while telling the story. That you said she should get over it. This doesn't look like someone who is sorry. This looks like someone who enjoyed the attention. Daniel's lips trembled. I wasn't thinking. You never do, Judy said flatly. That's the problem. Judy looked at Martina again. Miss Lopez, I'm going to ask something difficult. Did the incident change your day-to-day life in any significant way? Martina nodded slowly. For weeks, I couldn't drive at night. I took cabs. I had panic attacks if someone raised their voice near me. My manager even told Daniel to stop joking about it because I would start shaking in the middle of a shift. Judge Judy's expression softened slightly, a rare moment. I'm sorry you went through that. Thank you, Your Honor, Martina whispered, Judy then turned to Daniel, her voice regaining its razor edge. You caused emotional damage, and you humiliated her, and you placed her in danger over your own ego. Daniel wiped sweat from his forehead. Judge Judy leaned back in her chair. Now we'll hear closing arguments. Martina, you first. Martina inhaled deeply. Your Honor, I didn't want to sue him. I just wanted him to understand what he did. I trusted him. I tried to help him, and he put me in danger without caring what would happen to me. He never apologized. He laughed about it. I lost money, lost sleep, and felt scared for weeks. I just want to feel like someone acknowledges that what he did was wrong. Judy nodded. Thank you. She shifted her gaze to Daniel. Your closing argument? And I strongly advise you to avoid any attempt at minimizing what you did. Daniel's voice shook. Your Honor, I'm sorry. I really am. I didn't think about how scared she was. I didn't realize how bad it looked until today. I was stupid. I made bad choices, and I took advantage of her kindness. I wish I could take it back. For the first time, his voice sounded sincere. Judy watched him carefully, analyzing every detail of his posture, tone, and expression. You should have thought about all this before dragging her into your mess. Daniel nodded miserably. I know. Judy tapped her pen one last time. I'll give the ruling in the next session. Court is adjourned for now. She struck the gavel, and the sound echoed like a final warning through the courtroom. The courtroom was quieter than before when everyone returned after the recess. The earlier energy, nervousness, irritation, fear had now settled into something heavier. Daniel's shoulders were drawn inward, his usual swagger gone. Martina looked calmer but exhausted, as if the weight of months was finally catching up. The bailiff called out, All rise. Judge Judy entered with a file in one hand and reading glasses in the other. She glanced around the room with that familiar mixture of impatience and steel. Sit, she said. No one dared breathe loudly. She placed the file down. Before I give my ruling, I want to clear up a few things, because something about this whole situation still irritates me. Daniel shrank a little further into his chair. Judy leaned forward. Mr. Reed, you said earlier that you owed money because of gambling. Poker, specifically. How often do you play? Daniel hesitated. Not often. Maybe once a month, Judy snapped. Try again. Okay. Maybe twice a month. Twice a month with people who bang on car windows? Judy asked. Sounds like a quality hobby you've got there. A few people quietly laughed. Daniel kept his gaze down. I'm trying to stop. I'm sure you are, Judy said dryly. But that's not what I'm concerned with right now. She sat back, hands clasped. I'm concerned with why you didn't warn her. Why you pretended everything was fine. Why you manipulated her into believing she was doing a harmless favor. Daniel swallowed. I didn't want her to say no. Exactly, Judy said sharply. You wanted the ride. You wanted backup. You wanted someone to stand next to you while you faced the consequences of your own bad decisions. Daniel sat silent. Judy continued, voice cold. And you picked the one person at work who wouldn't argue with you? Martina lowered her eyes. Tell me, Judy said, why her? Why not ask Brian? Or Sarah? Or someone else? Daniel shifted. Because they don't like me much, and she. Judy gestured to Martina. She's nice. That's the problem, Judy said, shaking her head. People like you take kindness and twist it until it breaks. Martina's throat tightened, eyes stinging. Judge Judy motioned for her attention. Miss Lopez, there's something I want clarified from you. After the incident, I see from the statements you avoided driving at night. Did anyone at work or in your personal life suggest you report the accident? Martina nodded. Yes, Sarah told me I should. My brother told me to file a report, but I felt stupid, like I should have known better. Judy softened slightly. You shouldn't feel stupid for trusting another human being. Trust is supposed to be a good thing. The stupidity comes from people who abuse it. Daniel's eyes lifted slightly, guilt darkening them. Judy turned toward him. You hear that, Mr. Reed? You didn't just damage a car. You damaged trust. That's not something money fixes. Daniel nodded. I know that now. Do you? Judy asked. Because from where I'm sitting, the only reason you understand anything today is because you're in a courtroom and not outside bragging to your coworkers. Daniel's face reddened. Let me ask you something else, Judy said. If the car had flipped and she had been injured, who would have helped her? Your poker friends? The men banging on her window? No, Daniel said quickly. Would you have stayed? Or would you have run? Daniel looked up, eyes glossy. I would have stayed. Why should I believe that? Judy asked, voice razor sharp. Daniel's lips trembled. Because she gave me rides for months. She talked to me when no one else cared. She didn't deserve any of this. I didn't think it through. Judy held his gaze for a long, silent moment. You're right. She didn't deserve it. Martina blinked rapidly, trying to keep her composure. Judge Judy inhaled slowly. Miss Lopez, were you ever compensated in any way, even partially, for repair costs or lost wages? No, Your Honor. And did the defendant attempt to apologize before today? Martina shook her head. No. Judy turned to Daniel again. Why didn't you apologize sooner? Daniel clasped his hands. I was embarrassed. And I thought if I said sorry, it would make everything seem bigger than it was. I tried to ignore it and pretend everything was normal. Judy's face twisted in disbelief. Ignoring a problem doesn't make it smaller. It makes you look cowardly. Daniel's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Judy leaned back and crossed her arms. Let me tell you something important. When people apologize immediately, it shows remorse. When they apologize only when dragged into court, it shows fear of consequences, not guilt. Daniel's breathing hitched. Now, Judy said, I want to open the floor briefly. Miss Lopez, is there anything else you want to say? Anything at all? For the first time that day, Martina lifted her head fully. Her voice was soft but steady. Your Honor, I just want to move on. I don't want to be scared anymore. I don't want to second guess every good thing I do for people. I'm here because I need closure. That's all. Judge Judy nodded slowly. Understood. She shifted her gaze to Daniel with a final piercing look. And you, Mr. Reed? Stand up. Daniel rose shakily. Good, Judy said. Stay standing. He looked terrified. Look at her, Judy instructed. Daniel turned toward Martina, who hesitantly met his eyes. You caused her emotional pain, financial loss, humiliation at work, and genuine fear. You turned her kindness into a liability, and you laughed about it. And now you're standing in front of me because you finally realized actions have consequences? Daniel's voice cracked. I'm sorry. Martina blinked hard, tears escaping despite her attempt to stay composed. Judy raised a hand. Don't look at me. Tell her. Daniel inhaled deeply. Martina, I'm sorry. For everything. For being selfish. For putting you in danger. For laughing. For making you feel stupid. You didn't deserve any of it. Martina's voice trembled. Thank you. Judge Judy waited until both regained their composure. Then her voice shifted, firm, final, decisive. Sit, she said to Daniel. He lowered himself. Judge Judy placed both hands on the bench, eyes burning with the authority of someone about to give a verdict that would echo. I am ready to rule, she said. The courtroom held its breath. Judge Evelyn didn't move at first. She just stared at Bella, her gaze sharp enough to slice through every lie the girl had carefully stitched together. The room was quiet in a way that made everyone hold their breath, like the courtroom itself was waiting to see which piece of truth would fall next. Bella's lower lip trembled. Not dramatically, not for show, this time it was real. Her eyes darted to her father, but Senator Aldrich stood frozen, shocked, angry, embarrassed, and somewhere deep beneath all of that hurt. Bella, he whispered, barely able to find his voice. You stole from them? Bella didn't answer. Tears finally began sliding down her cheeks, streaking the makeup she'd so carefully put on that morning. She looked much younger suddenly, like a child realizing the world wasn't going to bend for her after all. Asterisk Judge Evelyn took a slow breath, adjusting her glasses as she rose from her seat. The difference between a mistake and a crime, she said quietly, isn't always the action. Sometimes it's what you do afterward. Do you hide? Or do you face it? Bella swallowed hard. Everyone could see her throat tightening. She wanted to speak, but shame had glued her tongue to the roof of her mouth. Mrs. Lopez, standing at the witness stand, softened just a little. The woman wasn't cruel. She had been hurt, disrespected, stolen from, but her heart wasn't made of stone. Even Mr. Lopez seemed conflicted now, watching Bella crumble like a sandcastle meeting high tide. Judge Evelyn looked toward the senator. Mr. Aldridge, she said gently, your daughter needs a parent right now, not a politician. The words hit him with a force he wasn't expecting. His shoulders sagged as he slowly approached Bella. He didn't yell. He didn't scold. He just knelt down so he was eye to eye with her. Bella, why? His voice cracked in the middle, revealing the father underneath the public figure. Bella opened her mouth, then closed it again. Her breathing was fast, shaky. I didn't think they'd miss it, she whispered. Everyone at school has designer things. Everyone posts luxury stuff online. I just wanted to fit in. And they were cleaning the room, and I saw the necklace on the table, and my brain just... She broke into tears again. I'm sorry. I didn't think it mattered. Mrs. Lopez raised her eyebrow. My mother's necklace didn't matter. Bella's face twisted painfully. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know it was sentimental. I shouldn't have taken it. I'm sorry. Asterisk Judge Evelyn watched the girl with a heavy but steady expression. Regret doesn't erase wrongdoing, she said. But it can be the start of something better. Bella sniffed, wiping her face. I'll do anything to fix it, anything. Good, Judge Evelyn replied. Because the consequences are real. The courtroom shifted. Even the officers near the wall stood a little straighter, waiting for the judgment. Judge Evelyn returned to her seat. Her gavel remained untouched. Her voice alone was enough to command the room. Bella Aldridge, she began, you committed theft. You tried to cover it up by blaming innocent people. You used your father's position as a shield and thought wealth could replace responsibility. Bella stared at the floor, but, Evelyn continued, you also confessed when faced with irrefutable truth. That matters. The senator inhaled sharply, listening as though every syllable was being carved into stone. I'm sentencing you, Judge Evelyn said, to 60 hours of community service, specifically at a senior care home and a youth shelter. Places where you will meet people who work hard, people who struggle, people who value what they have. Asterisk Bella's eyes widened. She wasn't expecting that, and the judge added, you will personally write a formal apology to the Lopez family. Not a statement crafted by your father's PR team, your words, your handwriting, your heart. Bella nodded quickly. Yes, Your Honor, I promise. But Evelyn wasn't done. You will also attend financial responsibility classes and a restorative justice program. You will understand why your actions matter and whom they hurt. Bella nodded again, crying harder but relieved that the punishment wasn't jail. Relieved that someone was still giving her a chance to grow. Mrs. Lopez cleared her throat. Your Honor, may I say something? Evelyn gestured for her to speak. I don't want the girl's future ruined, Mrs. Lopez said gently. I just wanted the truth. I wanted respect. She hurt us, but she's young. If she learns from this, that's enough. Mr. Lopez nodded silently beside her. For the first time since the trial began, Bella met their eyes not with anger, not with disgust, not with entitlement, but with genuine remorse. Thank you, she whispered faintly. Judge Evelyn gave a small nod. I believe this can be a turning point for you, Bella, but only if you take it seriously. I will, Bella murmured. The senator placed a hand on his daughter's shoulder. We'll make sure she does. For a moment, the courtroom softened. The tension that had gripped every corner slowly melted away, replaced by something unexpected. Hope. Judge Evelyn finally picked up her gavel. Case closed. The bang echoed like a final heartbeat. As people began to pack up, Bella hesitated. She approached Mrs. Lopez slowly, hesitantly, like someone walking toward the very thing they fear but know they must face. "I'm sorry," she said again, voice small. "Not just for stealing, but for how I treated you. You were always kind to me. I didn't deserve it." Mrs. Lopez's eyes glistened. "Make yourself deserving from now on," she replied. Bella nodded firmly. Senator Aldrich shook Mr. Lopez's hand, humbled in a way that made him seem less like a powerful man and more like a father trying to rebuild something with his child. Judge Evelyn stepped down from the bench, gathering her files. As she passed Bella, she paused. "You're not a bad kid," she said softly. "Just a lost one. Don't stay lost." Bella swallowed. "I won't." And for the first time, she meant it. Outside the courtroom, the cameras blinked, waiting to turn chaos into headlines. But Bella didn't hide behind her father. She didn't cover her face. She held her head steady, not high, not proud, just steady. Because sometimes the biggest punishment isn't community service or classes. Sometimes it's finally facing yourself, and choosing to become someone better.